Joining us from St. Thomas men's basketball program, head coach Johnny Tower, student athletes Kendall Blue and Ryan Dufall. Normal press conference procedure will be, we'll do an opening statement from coach. We'll take questions from the student athletes, dismiss the student athletes, come back to questions for coach. We do have a microphone in the room, so just a reminder to please wait for the microphone. State your name and affiliation prior to your question. Go ahead with your opening statement, coach.
Yeah, thank you. Thrilled to get a win tonight. So proud of our players, the way they competed against a perennial power in the Summit League. North Dakota State's been to the championship game, I think, 5 consecutive years. Dave does an unbelievable job. Their kids are tough and play a really, really good style of basketball. And so to get a win over them in the Summit League tournament means a lot to us because of how much respect we have for them. I was really proud of how our guys defended tonight. I thought, particularly in the first half, and they made some tough shots in the first few minutes. And I just told the guys that I think a couple months ago we may have blinked a little bit and worried. And I think tonight all they did was kind of dig their heels in more and say that's how we're going to try and defend for 40 minutes. So our connectedness on defense, their trust, their togetherness has just been inspiring throughout the course of the year. They continue to get better. And I couldn't be more pleased. We're really excited with the win and look forward to tomorrow night.
We'll go ahead with questions for the student athletes. We'll start back there.
Tim Hill, Reaching the Summit. This one's for Ryan. Ryan, your role really throughout your career is being a spark plug off the bench. Sometimes that doesn't get noticed. Tonight, you were really the biggest factor in the second half when things kind of got bogged down there. You get a standing ovation as you're subbing out. How does that feel to really get that acknowledgement, especially with all the work you put in?
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. I mean, I've always been, Drake Dobbs is a crazy defender. I mean, it's fun to come off the bench after people have been struggling usually against his on-ball defense. He's crazy. And then, I mean, coming off the bench, I always know, like, I just got to give us energy every game because that's what we need sometimes off the bench. I mean, if we're in a slump, I need to come out there and change the game. And defense mostly, I mean, I'm thinking, when I come in, I'm just thinking be solid on defense and the offense will come. So, I mean, I did that tonight and came out with the win, so it was fun.
Right here in front.
Jeff Kopak with the Forum in Fargo. Kendall, describe that first half for you guys.
Really energetic. You know, our main focus was to come out with a spark on offense, and our defense, just getting the gaps and stuff like that led to our offense, and we got our crowd into it. Appreciate our supporters and all our fans. So I feel like our defense led to our offense, and you know the energy took care of it.
For Kendall, you know, tonight, to the Bison's credit, they did give Drake and Raheem a little bit of fits on the offensive end, and it just seemed to click to you to really be more aggressive at the wing spot. Did you see that, or did it just come naturally that, hey, I got to be the aggressive one out here on the perimeter?
I mean, yeah, credit to Drake and Raheem for the players they are, but it just came natural to me. I think our team is really unselfish, and it can be anybody's night, and tonight just happened to be Doof and I, so I feel like tomorrow could be anybody's night again. So as long as we get a W, that's all that matters to us.
Any other questions for the student athletes? We'll do 2 more.
Todd Buckham, Reaching the Summit. Ryan, for you, there's so many times where you're going to the basket and the guy has a few inches on you, and somehow I'm like, oh, there's trouble, and it finds its way. You have a magnet on the ball, or what? Or just thousands and thousands of layups? What is it?
I mean, yeah, I've been working on those left-handed layups my whole career. I mean, JT knows it from playing AAU with him for 2 years. I mean, obviously I'm not the best shooting guard in the conference or anything, you know, but yeah, I mean, a lot of reps, just got that touch, I guess. But yeah, it just came naturally a little bit too. So, I mean, it's fun.
We'll go to the last question in the second row here.
Kendall, how big of a focus was it to take Morgan out of the game for them, and what did you guys do to accomplish that? I think he had 4 shots, made 1 shot from the field.
Yeah, that was one of our big preparations in practice this week. Just whenever he gets in the post and helps and double teams and just make somebody else beat us. Well, we weren't going to give up layups, and tonight I feel like our defense was really locked in, and you know the results showed for itself. So that was our main focus.
Thanks, guys. You can head back to the locker room.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead now with questions for Coach, starting the second row.
I'll ask you the same thing, Johnny. Morgan, 4 shots, keeping him to 4 shots and 1 field goal, and just a handful of rebounds. That's kind of a key to beating NDSU, I would think. What's your thoughts there and what'd you do? Is that a focus, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the most dominant posts around. I mean, he played on that same AAU team with Ryan. They played at Waseco High School together. They were state champs together. And Andrew certainly, I think the hardest thing about guarding them is he's so powerful. Feddersen is an unbelievable, versatile big man, and then they have 4 of the better perimeter shooters. So you look at their three-point percentage, it's one of the best in the country. I think people think about North Dakota State basketball, they oftentimes think about kind of big, strong posts, which they have, but they also have really, really prolific three-point shooting. And so it's not easy to guard them. We do know we're not going to guard him one-on-one, and that's no disrespect to Parker Bjorklund or Carter or Brooks or anybody else. It's just they're going to get in foul trouble, and so we had to send help. And I think that's one of the things that our guys are so committed to. You know, we had really good defensive numbers all year. Nobody showed up on the all-defensive team for us, and I think our guys are they don't care about that. They just want to play really tough and together on defense, and I think they've done that consistently throughout the course of the year. But the last 3 games have been particularly good in terms of just their discipline and understanding what their role is, and 2, who they're guarding and trying to play tendencies. They're just very coachable and they listen well.
JT, one of the biggest strengths of your team all year is, your bench production, one of the best in the league at that. And just first half, Carter coming out with the big 3, second half, Ryan with his defense turning it into offense. Just talk about how important that is to have, especially in a tournament like this where you in theory got to go 3 and 3, and just needing those extra guys in there.
Yeah, I think you're right, Tim. The way we want to play, both the tempo, the depth, for a lot of reasons, right? Some of it is tempo and some of it is culture. But those 3 guys tonight were plus 10, plus 18, plus 17 off the bench. And that has been consistent, not every single night, but throughout the course of the year. And I love the way they all buy into their role, right? I mean, Benny and Ryan and Carter know that they're probably not going to play 25 minutes. And so they go in there and they do their job to the best of their ability. And you watch our starters, Parker Bjorklund, who's a 2-time all-conference player, and he didn't play that many minutes tonight. Some of it was he was saddled with 4 fouls, but some of it was North Dakota State went small. We went a little small. We start rotating Brooks and Carter at the 5, and you watch Parker on the bench, and you wouldn't know if he had 32 points against them earlier in the year or tonight when he only plays about 19 minutes. So that our bench guys are unbelievable, but I would be remiss if I don't talk about our leadership. In the halftime I came in, and maybe I shouldn't say this because my boss is here, there were 6 bullet points on the whiteboard already, and that was our captains who had written down, these are the 6 keys in the second half. Now I'm going to have to harass them because I don't think letting them go on a 12-0 run was probably part of it. But that, to me as a coach, I cannot tell you what that means. And they were all the things that they hear every day, and they probably get a little tired of us doing it. But when you walk in the locker room and you see your 6 values written on the board, that's what a player-led team is, and these guys are just a joy to work with.
Johnny Thomas, WDAY. Tell me the difference of this game as opposed to the game a couple weeks ago in Fargo that you only scored 50 points. Why the 180 tonight?
Well, I mean, basketball is, with the 3-point shot, basketball is a game of runs, right? So you look at whether it's our 2 games against them or any number of games in the league. Like if you go, 8 for 30 one night on threes and 15 for 30, well, there's a 21-point swing, and the other team might do the same thing. Like that's why sometimes you see huge results. And I think sometimes as coaches, we read too much into those results versus talking about the quality of our play and the quality of our shots. We didn't shoot it well that night. They played outstanding. I mean, we got off to a 10-0 lead, and from that point, their defense was stifling. So if I had to boil it down, some of it, we made shots tonight. We went 11 for 22 on threes. Some of it, I thought we defended great the first half at North Dakota State. It was 23-22, and I didn't think we had that in the second half. And then the third thing is, let's be honest, we had a nice lead where we could try to manage that. And while we weren't perfect in the first 6 or 7 minutes of the second half, I thought our guys played in a really intelligent way in terms of using the clock, trying to get layups and open threes at the end of the shot clock, and really at some level shortening the game. So some of it was basketball, but some of it, North Dakota State's a really good team. And like I said earlier, we have so much respect for them for what they've done. And it's a big moment for our program tonight.
We'll go with these last 2 questions in the front.
Yeah, Johnny, what did you see in the first half there?
Well, I thought both teams came out shooting it at a really efficient clip. I thought our defensive, both our intensity, our and our active hands. We forced 11 turnovers the first half, and so I thought that was huge. That got us out in transition. If you just play in a half-court game with them, they are going to grind you down. And so I thought we had a couple stretches where we really got out in transition, stretched the lead out. But more than anything, I would say our guys' consistency in terms of their defensive execution, it starts with their preparation. It's what we talked about for the last week, and doesn't always go that way, right? 4 minutes in the game, I think they had 10 points on 4 or 5 shots. And as I alluded to earlier, that to me was the big moment that our guys didn't waver in how they defended. They just kept doing the same thing and trust it. Do this for 40 minutes and trust the outcome.
Last one right here.
Hey, Coach, Anya Joseph with Kellerland. Looking ahead to tomorrow's matchup against SDSU, how do you feel?
Hey, thank you. They're another unbelievable program. I mean, Eric does an incredible job year after year. They've got great culture. They've been, the other perennial power along with Oral Roberts in this conference. And so to get to play North Dakota State tonight, to get an opportunity to play South Dakota State, I'm guessing there will be a little more blue than purple in the crowd. But I appreciate our fans. They're vocal, the ones that made the trip. And so it's going to be, we had 2 great games with them throughout the course of the year. They've got the player of the year. They got 2 guys on the all defensive team. I mean, they're really talented. They're really well coached, and they got a day off in preparation. So we're going to have to go home and ice and get rested, and we're really excited to just get the chance to be a part of that game tomorrow.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
Joining us now from North Dakota State men's basketball program, head coach David Richmond, student athletes Jakari White and Bowden Skunberg. Normal format will be an opening statement from coach. We'll take questions from the student athletes, dismiss the student athletes and come back to questions for coach. As always, please wait for the microphone. State your name and affiliation prior to your question. Go ahead with your opening statement, coach.
Yeah, obviously, tremendous amount of credit to Johnny and his squad. They came out of the gates and they were locked in and really dictated pretty much everything. I mean, our guys, I thought, had more fight and we executed a lot better. Started the second half, but we just weren't able to maintain that. Certainly, and I'll take any questions afterwards. This is hard. It's tough. It's not a position that we're used to. It's tough because we lost a game. It's tough because we have to go home. It's tough because you have to end the season. The main reason these moments are tough is, because of the one sitting 2 seats for me. When I signed up for this, I knew there'd be some tremendous challenges and some tremendous rewards. And Bowden and I have clearly had our challenges. We're both very transparent about that. But every single reward I've had with this young man has been well worth every single challenge. And we will be family for the rest of our lives.
We'll go ahead with questions for the student athletes. Second row.
Bowden, first half, explain what happened there in that. After you guys got off to a quick start, things kind of steamrolled against you. What happened?
Yeah, they just started making shots and kind of broke down a little bit defensively, and we let their guys get, heated up a little bit and went to see the ball going a few times. It's easy to get heated up and just keep making shots.
Blake Ingebretson, Bison Report. Bowden, I know short time to reflect, but with your time at NDSU coming to an end, can you just put into words what this program has meant to you in the last 4 years?
Yeah, it's kind of all hit me at once, but, I just want to thank God for literally blessing me abundantly throughout my whole 4 years here, blessing me with a great coaching staff, family and friends, and just all the core values instilled in me. And those are things that I'll take for the rest of my life. And, man, it's weird. It's a weird feeling. And, my time here is it means the world to me, and I'm forever blessed. And I'm just so thankful for everyone around me and been making the time of my life. And time really does fly. It's crazy.
Dom Izzo, WDAY. Bo, can you describe what happened the last 3 games of the season? After the UND game, what happened with this team over the last 3 games?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It was tough though, but we just broke down a little bit. We weren't toughened together, and yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know how to answer that question.
Jeff Koback, Forum. Jakari, can you describe your team's intensity that first half? Was it there? Was it, describe the mental part of that?
I think, we could have came out more urgent. We weren't as urgent as we did coming out in the second half. I feel like if we started off with that same intensity, it would have been a whole different game. But, we broke down defensively and let them get hot. So that's what it is.
We'll go last question in row 4 there.
Tim Hill reaching the summit. This is for Jakari. Obviously tough to process right now. Maybe can't in this moment, but you've really been a focal point here lately. A guy that Davis trusts with the ball in your hands. Going forward, you can be a guy he leans on next year. What do you take from your experiences? Learn from a guy like Bowden, other vets, and what you'll do going into next year.
It just adds to the experience and the be more the maturity going forward. So it just helps carry over into next year and keep it moving forward. So
Thanks, guys. You can head back to the locker room. We'll open up and go ahead with questions for Coach.
Dave, I'll ask the same thing I asked Bowden. Can you put your finger on the last 3 games of this season and what went wrong?
I've been doing this for a long time, Dom, and you're searching for words. Probably the word that I've come up with in the last 10 days, 2 weeks is just challenging, not complaining. Got tremendous character and integrity in the room. I thought today was a microcosm of our season. I loved our urgency out of the gates. I thought we were locked in. I thought we lacked some poise and execution for a stretch there, and a little bit like the South Dakota State game. And we turned it over 11 times in the first half. And you take a good offensive team and you put them in open space, they become a great offensive team. And I wrestled. Like, you guys know me, I'm transparent. Like, I just told the guys I was just never able to quite just fully get my arms around this group. And got to figure out ways to continue to get better.
Dave, their runs, I mean, are you changing things up? How do you answer their runs in the first half, or how do you try to stop that?
Yeah, listen, Johnny does a good job. They got a good team. They got a great program, all the things. But so with all due respect, I just felt it was self-inflicted. We were getting the ball to spots. We were executing. We were urgent defensively, doing all those things. But again, we're a defensive-minded program, but when our offense is affecting our defense like that, and we're turning it over and not playing strong, we don't have the poise we need. It just compounds itself. It's bad offense and it leads to bad defense.
Coach Todd Buckingham reaching the summit. The game was at 56 possessions. This game, was that just the indicative of the game that happened? Would you have rather been at a quicker pace, or because that feels more like what St. Thomas would like to be?
Yeah, I'm not a huge analytics guy. I think you need to go out there and play the game the right way, playing basketball. And again, we, myself, our staff, our players, just didn't execute the way we needed to, and give St. Thomas credit.
Second row.
You say you couldn't quite wrap your arms around this team and the season ended the way it did tonight. How do you head into this off season then? Does it feel different than past years where you kind of knew what you had, or are you gonna, I know it's right after the game, but how are you gonna approach that?
Motivated, challenged. I love a challenge. These are transformational times. That doesn't mean it's an excuse. We've invested throughout these transformational times the last couple of years in some young kids. This is a game of experience, and I'm excited to continue to develop the guys that we have and put ourselves in a better position than we are right now.
We'll go last question on the end in row 2 over there.
I think last week you mentioned finding new ways to get Andrew the ball. Obviously, they triple, double, whatever teamed him throughout the entirety of the game. Just what difficulty does that make for the rest of your team?
Yeah, I think it compounds itself when we're turning it over before we can get it to them. And again, I still think Wes told me this week we're 17th in the country, but we were 11th in the country in three-point field goal percentage 2 weeks ago. And again, the challenging part of this has just been our inconsistencies. In the last couple of weeks, we haven't shot the ball, we haven't taken care of the ball, and that makes it hard to touch a dominant force down there.
Thanks, Coach.